You know the pattern. You have lived it enough times to recognize the shape of it before it even begins. There is a certain kind of person who makes your heart race. They are electric. They are unpredictable. They walk into a room and everything tilts slightly in their direction. When they look at you, you feel like you have finally arrived. When they laugh at something you said, you feel like you have won something. And when they pull away, which they always do, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, sometimes with a silence so loud it fills every room in your house, your entire nervous system goes into overdrive. You cannot eat, you cannot sleep. You check your phone every 45 seconds. You replay every conversation, searching for the moment you said the wrong thing. You twist yourself into whatever shape you think they need. You perform, you produce, you give, you wait. You tell yourself that if you just love them hard enough, if you are just patient enough, if you just prove your worth one more time, they will finally stay. And for a while, it works. They come back, they soften, they give you just enough warmth to keep you tethered. And the relief you feel in that moment, the flood of dopamine, the loosening in your chest, the way the world suddenly has color again, you call that love. You call it passion. You call it the spark. But it is not the spark, it is the hit, and you are addicted to it. And then there is the other kind of person, the one who is steady, the one who is kind, the one who texts you back within the hour, not because they are playing it cool, but because they genuinely wanted to hear from you. The one who looks at you and sees you, not the performance, not the curated version, not the one you built to be lovable, but the actual, unfinished, imperfect you. They do not make you guess where you stand. They do not disappear for 3 days. They do not require you to earn their presence. They just offer it, freely, consistently, without conditions. And how do you feel when you are with them? Bored, restless, irritated, suffocated. You tell yourself there is no spark. You tell your friends they are too nice. You pick apart their flaws, the way they chew, the way they dress, the way they are too available, too eager, too present. You feel a sudden, overwhelming urge to run. Not away from them exactly, away from the feeling, away from the quiet, away from the terrifying absence of chaos. You might even go back to the first person, the electric one, the unavailable one. Because at least with them, you know where you stand. At least with them, the anxiety has a name. Why is it that the people who treat you poorly feel like a challenge you have to win, while the people who treat you well feel like a trap you have to escape? Why do you keep choosing people who cannot love you and running from the ones who can? This is not a mistake. It is not bad luck. It is not that you have just met the wrong people. It is a profoundly intelligent, perfectly executed survival strategy. And until you understand exactly what it is trying to protect you from, you will repeat it for the rest of your life. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who spent his career mapping the hidden architecture of the human psyche, famously wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What you are calling fate, your type, your bad luck in love, the fact that every relationship seems to end the same way, with you either chasing someone who is leaving or leaving someone who is staying, is actually your unconscious mind running a script that was written long before you were old enough to read it. To understand why you run from healthy love, you have to go back to the place where love first became dangerous. For many of us, love was not a safe harbor. Love was a performance. Love was conditional. Love was something you had to earn by being good, being quiet, being useful, or being invisible. Perhaps your mother was warm one day and cold the next, and you spent your childhood learning to read the weather of her face before you even entered the room. You could tell by the way she set her keys down whether it was safe to speak. You could tell by the weight of her footsteps on the stairs whether tonight would be a good night or a quiet one. You became a meteorologist of moods before you were 10 years old. And you were brilliant at it, you had to be. Perhaps your father was physically present but emotionally absent. There, but not there. He sat at the dinner table every night, but you could feel the distance between you like a wall made of glass. You could see him, but you could never reach him. And you learned that love means sitting next to someone who cannot see you. That proximity is not the same as presence. That a person can be in the room and still be gone. Or perhaps love was explosive. Shouting matches that shook the walls, followed by tearful apologies and sudden tenderness. The constant whiplash between rage and affection that taught your nervous system that love and danger are the same frequency. That the person who holds you is also the person who hurts you. That the warmth always comes after the storm, and so you learned to wait for storms. You learned to create them even, because at least after the thunder came the rain, and after the rain came the softness you were starving for. You did not choose any of this. You were a child. You were learning the rules of a game that no one told you was being played, and you learned them perfectly. Whatever it was, your developing brain learned a very specific equation. Love equals anxiety. Love equals vigilance. Love equals the constant, exhausting monitoring of someone else's emotional state to ensure your own survival. Love equals the knot in your stomach when the house goes quiet. Love equals the relief when someone finally smiles at you. Love equals earning, performing, waiting, hoping, and never, ever resting. As Dr. Gabor Maté explains, when a child is forced to choose between attachment, staying connected to their caregivers, and authenticity, feeling their own feelings and being true to themselves, the child will always choose attachment, because without attachment, a child does not survive. So you learn to abandon yourself in order to stay connected. You learn to suppress your needs, your anger, your sadness, your boundaries, anything that might threaten the bond. You learned that the price of admission to a relationship is your own peace, your own truth, your own self, and you paid it, gladly, because you were a child and you had no other choice. Fast forward 20 years. You are an adult now. You have your own home, your own income, your own life. But your nervous system does not know that. Your nervous system is still operating on the original blueprint. It is still scanning every room for danger. It is still reading faces for micro-expressions of displeasure. It is still bracing for the withdrawal of love at the first sign of silence. When you meet someone who is emotionally unavailable, chaotic, or withholding, your conscious mind might say, "I do not want this. This hurts. This is not what I deserve." But your unconscious mind, your nervous system, your body, the part of you that learned about love before you could speak, says, I know this. I recognize this shape. This feels like home." The anxiety, the chasing, the desperate need to prove your worth, the obsessive monitoring of their mood. It feels like love because it is the only version of love you have ever known. Your body mistakes the panic of an activated abandonment wound for the passion of a deep connection. You think it is butterflies. It is actually a trauma response. You think it is chemistry. It is actually your inner child recognizing the face of the parent who could not love them consistently and thinking, maybe this time, maybe if I try harder, maybe this time they will stay. And what happens when you meet someone who is genuinely safe? Someone who does not make you work for it? Someone who just shows up day after day with the same steady warmth? Your nervous system panics, but it panics for a completely different reason. It panics because safe love requires you to put down your armor. It requires you to stop performing. It requires you to be seen, not the version of you that knows exactly what to say, not the version that anticipates every need before it is spoken, not the version that has been rehearsing its lovability since childhood, but the real, unguarded, terrified you. And to a nervous system that survived by hiding, performing, and managing other people's emotions. Being truly seen without any defenses feels like a life-threatening emergency. When someone loves you unconditionally, they are asking you to believe something your entire history has told you is a lie, that you are worthy of it. And if your deepest, most hidden belief, the one that lives beneath every decision you have ever made in love, is that you are fundamentally not enough, then someone loving you freely feels like a terrifying mistake. You feel like a fraud. You feel like the moment they see the real you, the messy, needy, frightened one, they will leave. So you push them away first. You sabotage it. You find a flaw. You pick a fight. You create distance. You manufacture the very rejection you are trying to avoid, because at least then you are in control of it. At least then the ending is on your terms. You do it because the pain of rejecting them is familiar, and the terror of letting them love you is unbearable. Think about the last time someone genuinely kind was interested in you. Think about how quickly you found a reason to dismiss them. They were too available, too keen, too easy. You told yourself you needed someone who challenged you, someone who kept you on your toes. But what you really meant was, you needed someone who activated your nervous system, because activation felt like aliveness, and peace felt like death. Or think about the last time you were in a healthy relationship. One where the person actually showed up, actually cared, actually stayed. Remember how restless you became? Remember the creeping sense that something was wrong, even though nothing was wrong. Remember looking at this perfectly good, perfectly kind, perfectly present human being and thinking, why am I not feeling anything? You were feeling something. You were feeling safe. And safety, to a nervous system raised on chaos, feels like nothing. It feels like the absence of love, when really it is the presence of it for the first time. As Bell Hooks wrote so beautifully in All About Love, many of us choose relationships of affection and care that will never become loving because they feel safer. We accept the love we think we deserve. And if we grew up believing that love is something we must constantly earn, that it is a reward for good behavior rather than a birthright, we will always seek out partners who make us work for it. We will reject partners who offer it freely because their love feels unearned and therefore suspicious. We do not trust what we did not have to fight for. We mistake the adrenaline of uncertainty for the depth of connection. We confuse the relief of a temporary truce with the peace of a lasting bond. We tell ourselves that the drama means we care, that the intensity proves it is real, when really the drama just means we are reenacting the oldest story we know. We are children again, standing in the hallway, waiting for a door to open. The hardest truth to swallow is not that you have chosen the wrong people. It is that you have chosen the exact people you needed to confirm the story you already believed about yourself. If you believe you are not enough, you will find someone who makes you feel like you are not enough. If you believe you are too much, you will find someone who constantly asks you to shrink. If you believe you have to be useful to be loved, you will find someone who only wants you when they need something fixed. And every time the relationship ends, every time they leave or you leave or it collapses under the weight of its own dysfunction, you will look at the wreckage and say, "See, I knew it. I am unlovable." And the cycle begins again. You are not broken. You are just remarkably consistent. Your unconscious mind is brilliant at finding the missing puzzle piece that perfectly matches the shape of your wound. But the brilliance of the unconscious is also its undoing. Because once you see the pattern, truly see it, not just intellectually understand it, but feel it in your body, recognize it in the pit of your stomach the next time someone safe reaches for your hand and you flinch, the spell begins to break. Jung called this process individuation, the slow, courageous work of making the unconscious conscious, of dragging the hidden scripts into the light and reading them out loud, of looking at the pattern and saying, "I see you, I see what you have been doing, and I understand why, but I do not need you anymore." This is not about willpower. It is not about forcing yourself to date people you are not attracted to. It is about understanding that your definition of attraction has been hijacked by your wounds. It is about recognizing that the spark you feel with unavailable people is not chemistry, it is recognition. Your nervous system recognizing the shape of the love it learned to survive on. And the boredom you feel with safe people is not a lack of connection. It is the unfamiliar silence of a nervous system that has finally stopped screaming. The journey to healing is not about finding better partners. It is about becoming a person who can tolerate the unfamiliar, terrifying, beautiful feeling of being treated well. It is about sitting in the quiet space of a healthy connection and not running away when it feels too still. It is about noticing the urge to pick a fight, to find a flaw, to create distance, to sabotage the peace, and choosing to stay anyway. Not because it is comfortable, but because you finally understand that the discomfort is not a warning. It is a threshold. And on the other side of it is the love you have been searching for your entire life. It is about learning to sit with someone who is not asking you to perform, and believing in your body, not just in your mind, that your presence alone is enough, that you do not have to earn the right to be there, that the silence between you is not emptiness, it is trust. Pema Chödrön, the Buddhist teacher, writes about leaning into the sharp points of our experience rather than running from them. The sharp point here is the vulnerability of being loved without conditions. The sharp point is the moment someone looks at you with steady, quiet adoration and your entire body screams, "Run." Leaning in means staying. It means breathing through the panic. It means letting the wave of fear crest and break without acting on it. It means trusting that the terror will pass and that what remains on the other side is something your inner child has been waiting for their entire life. Imagine that child for a moment, the one who learned to read the room before entering it, the one who made themselves small so they would not be too much, the one who decided, at an age when they should have been deciding what game to play, that they were not worthy of being chosen. That child is still inside you. They are still running the show. They are still picking partners based on the only love they ever knew. The inconsistent kind, the conditional kind, the kind that comes and goes like weather. And every time you chase someone unavailable, that child lights up, because this is the game they know. This is the love they were trained for. Win them over. Prove your worth. Be so good, so useful, so indispensable that they cannot possibly leave. And every time you push away someone kind, that child recoils. Because kindness without conditions does not compute. It does not fit the equation. It feels like a trick, a setup, the calm before the inevitable storm. The healing is not about silencing that child. It is about holding them. It is about kneeling down inside yourself and saying, "I know why you chose what you chose. I know why chaos felt safer than calm. But I am here now, and I am going to show you what love looks like when it does not hurt." You have spent your whole life running from the love you desperately want, because the love you want requires you to believe you are worthy of it. And believing you are worthy of it means dismantling the oldest, deepest story you have ever told yourself. That story was never true, it was just loud. And it was loud because it was written in a time when you had no other explanation for why love hurt so much. But you are not that child anymore. You are the adult who can look at the pattern and choose differently. You are the one who can sit in the silence of a healthy relationship and let it be enough. You are the one who can feel the urge to run and stay anyway. Not because you are brave, but because you are tired. Tired of the cycle. Tired of the chaos. Tired of waking up in the wreckage of another relationship and wondering why it always ends the same way. The cycle ends with you, but only if you let it. You are not destined to repeat the past. You are not cursed to choose chaos forever. You are not your parents' marriage. You are not your childhood. You are not the story your wounds have been telling you. You are just a person who learned to survive in a war zone and who is now, slowly, imperfectly, courageously, learning how to live in peace. And here is what that looks like in practice. It does not look like a dramatic transformation. It does not look like waking up one morning and suddenly being attracted to healthy people. It looks like noticing. It looks like catching yourself mid-scroll, hovering over the profile of someone who radiates unavailability, and pausing. It looks like going on a date with someone kind and feeling the urge to run, and texting them back anyway. It looks like sitting on the sofa next to someone who is not creating drama and letting the silence be okay, letting the boredom be okay, letting the quiet be the love. It looks like the moment you feel the old pull, the magnetic, intoxicating pull towards someone who will never fully choose you. And you say out loud or just to yourself, "I know what this is. This is not love. This is my wound looking for a home, and I am not available for that anymore." It looks like grief too, because choosing differently means grieving the version of love you have always known. It means accepting that the intensity you craved was never passion. It was pain wearing a beautiful mask. It means mourning the relationships that felt so alive precisely because they were slowly killing you. And it means sitting in the strange, hollow space between the love you are leaving behind and the love you have not yet learned to receive. That space is uncomfortable. It is lonely. It is the place where most people turn back. But it is also the place where everything changes. Because in that space, for the first time in your life, you are not choosing based on your wounds. You are choosing based on your worth. And that is a completely different compass. It will feel strange at first. The quiet will feel suspicious. The kindness will feel like a trick. The steadiness will feel like boredom. But stay in the discomfort. Stay in the unfamiliar. Stay in the terrifying, beautiful silence of being loved without having to earn it. Because on the other side of that silence is the only thing that has ever really mattered. The quiet, unremarkable, profoundly ordinary experience of being loved exactly as you are. Not for what you do, not for what you give, not for how hard you try, just for being there, just for existing, just for being you. And that, after everything you have been through, is the most extraordinary thing in the world. So the next time you feel the pull towards someone who makes your heart race and your stomach drop, pause. Ask yourself, is this excitement or is this recognition? Is this love or is this my nervous system finding its way back to the battlefield it knows best? And the next time you feel the urge to run from someone who is simply, quietly, consistently kind, pause again. Ask yourself, is this boredom or is this peace? Is this the absence of love? Or is this what love actually feels like when it is not wrapped in barbed wire? You deserve to find out. You deserve to stay long enough to learn the difference. You deserve to discover that love does not have to be earned, that connection does not have to be a performance, and that the person sitting across from you, the steady one, the kind one, the one who does not make you work for it, is not boring. They are safe. And safe is not the absence of something. It is the presence of everything you have been searching for. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are just a person who is finally, courageously learning to choose differently. And that changes everything.